Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. The man who created the world's first Bitcoin investment fund in the United States back in 2013 has stated in the past that XRP will be one of the few cryptocurrencies to survive long term. And just yesterday on national television, he argued that XRP is being used to offer utility in one of the several most important use cases that exist today. And I just got to tell you, it could not be more obvious that XRP is an early winner in the crypto space, and the most intelligent and successful minds on the planet in crypto readily recognize this. And so I'm talking about none other than Dan Morehead, founder and CEO of Pantera Capital. And there are some connections that he has to the top brass over at Ripple, by the way. But he firmly believes that XRP's use case as a bridge currency, going after that Swift business, that's still going on full steam. And by the way, we don't even, just to be clear, we don't need that to succeed, that use case, in order for XRP to be wildly successful. That's just one more thing. XRP is great for payments, broadly speaking. And yes, that would be enough to secure its long-term viability, but there's so much other stuff it does. It also performs as a peer-to-peer cash system, which was the original use case for Bitcoin, although Bitcoin's too slow and costly and clunky to do that, so it can't, but XRP can. Also, you can tokenize real-world financial assets on the XRP ledger. That's happening at an increasing pace. There's all sorts of stuff going on, and it couldn't be more obvious. So if you've ever wondered if you made a good decision, if you're right about XRP, I think it couldn't be more obvious that the answer is yes. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so that's Dan Morehead on your screen, but I wanted to briefly mention this. This is an article from August 8th of 2020, half a decade ago. It's titled, XRP will be one of the few crypto assets to survive, says Pantera CEO. Here's why. And of course, this was several months before the SEC sued. Set us back a little bit, but honestly, now that we're at a level playing field, XRP, not surprisingly, has been excelling ever since we've had the first pro-crypto administration in the United States in history. Yeah, things have changed, and XRP's got legal clarity. Things are bullish now. I don't want to read the whole article, but I wanted to point out this part of a quote from Dan Morehead. Dan Morehead, again, he created the first Bitcoin fund in the United States. He's very pro-XRP, and he says, I see a world where we have 8 or 10 really important blockchains 10 years from now, and XRP is going to be one of them. Okay, so he's not saying there will only be that many chains, but if you're talking about the ones that are clearly useful and doing stuff, he's saying it's not going to be that many. But XRP is one of the first movers in the crypto space. It had already had sufficient adoption to that point, and it's way more substantial at this point. It just continues to prove that it is an early winner of the space. He was right. And he clearly still believes this. You can tell by the way he's talking, literally, the way he talked yesterday. Like, it's very obvious we are correct about XRP. And all the people that hate this will continue to be wrong. And also at the time, there was this article, Pantera Capital Chief, Ethereum and XRP to overtake Bitcoin. Take a look at this quote from Dan Morehead. We invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Now, I really think that other cryptocurrencies will surpass digital gold. So that'd be Bitcoin, of course. That's what he's calling it. We are in an active bull market phase, so the smaller the market capitalization, the higher the beta. Bitcoin is now accounting for 62% of the cryptocurrency market capitalization. 2 years ago, at the peak, the figure reached 70%. I believe its dominance will drift downward as it grows because altcoins will outrun it, end quote. That's from Dan Morehead. It's not just you and I that think that XRP is going to outperform, and it sure as hell has this market cycle. And he was saying this half a decade ago. It's still true. Of course it's still true here. So he's not arguing that about what will be number one in market cap, to be clear. He's talking about where the opportunity is in terms of return. Investing in XRP today versus investing in Bitcoin today, what do you think is going to look better if you invest in both today, the same amount of money, which will have a better return on investment a decade from now? Bitcoin or XRP? Well, I think it's very obvious the answer is XRP. It will not even be close. There's way less money in XRP than Bitcoin. It takes way less money flowing in to get a multiplier effect. And XRP has been artificially suppressed for years. The market's now correcting for that. And so Dan Morehead is effectively arguing that. He gets it. And here, was a video, and this is from Ripple's Swell event from 2024, last year. And and that's Brad Garlinghouse on your screen right there. He had a little fireside fireside chat with Dan Moorhead. And so it turns out they've actually been buddies and known each other for a very long time. And so this is somebody who is a realist. I know there are so many toxic people in the crypto space, but the true adults in the room don't think that anything other than Bitcoin is somehow lesser. And they don't think that a coin has committed original sin because it doesn't have mining. That's the dumbest perspective. I'm telling you what, when all the Bitcoins mined one day, and then you compare the fact that that's mined to the fact that all XRP was created at inception, the market's not going to give a damn. The market's going to be like, okay, which is useful. That's what actually matters. It's not hard to figure this stuff out. So it's nice to see there's somebody, even in the early days when it wasn't popular, to say quite vocally, pro things about XRP and the altcoin market in general, frankly. So it's just nice to see that. So he's been pro this for quite a while. Now, there was a video clip that was shared by Crypto Insight UK, that's Dan Moorhead, on CNBC literally yesterday. And he was with their host, what's his name? Andrew Ross Sorkin, I believe. And it looks like there's kind of like a narrative shift almost. I mean, I hope it becomes one. I'm not saying I'm totally convinced, but it would be fantastic because XRP is the third largest coin by market cap. How frequently is it ignored when there's big picture conversations about crypto? They'll talk about coins that are smaller in market cap than XRP as if XRP doesn't exist. And so Crypto Insight UK wrote, wowzers, Dan Moorhead says Ripple is going after Swift. And of course, that means XRP is a bridge currency. And so then Crypto Insight UK sarcastically wrote, I guess they must have missed the memo that they're nothing more than a multi-level marketing and their community is beyond saving. Wonder if that included, Dan. And so he's joking there because that's the way that the toxic Bitcoin maximalists will talk about us. Oh, it's just nothing, XRP scam coin. They blatantly lie to their massive audiences. Many of them have massive audiences. And so that is the message that you see here. Dan Moorhead does not give one single FOX. He does not care 1 bit about that particular animal, the fox. And so, again, love to see it. And Dan Thurman, XRP community member, responded and said, maybe reading into it too much, but when CNBC pivots, I take notice. Interesting that Ross, the host, mentioned Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, then proceeded to ask if there was anything else that's better. We might start seeing our narrative shift in mainstream media on XRP. Big financial institutions might be ready. And so indeed, Dan Moorhead was asked by the host about Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and then he pivoted to talk about XRP and Ripple positioning XRP as a bridge currency, because that's an actual thing. It turns out one of the most obvious use cases for crypto from the very beginning, it was always remittances. It was always global payments, foreign exchange. Absolutely. And XRP actually has been able to do that right out of the box from day one. And that turns out the market finds to be valuable. And so Crypto Insight UK responded to that and said, this is what I'm trying to highlight here too. Spot on. It could not be more obvious, folks. You just love to see it. It's just nice to see Dan Moorhead, after all this time, still pro XRP, but he's pro crypto in general. And it could not be more clear that XRP is here to stay. It's getting more market dominance for that use case as a bridge currency, but it's getting more market dominance for all the other use cases it's being adopted for, including tokenization. It's just so obvious XRP is an early winner of the crypto space, and the rest of the world, I mean, if they're not going to acknowledge it, fine. They're going to be, all the toxic Bitcoin maximalists, all the idiot sticks with XRP derangement syndrome, they're going to be dragged kicking and screaming. And whether they like it or not, fast forward 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, XRP is still going to be here, and they will have missed out on the opportunity for gains that are way more substantial than investing in Bitcoin in 2025. Duh. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.